Let's dive deeper into this deeply disturbing incident and what has followed in terms of the identity of the attacker and his sources of inspiration. Ashok Sajjanhar, former senior diplomat, joins us now. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Ambassador Sajjanhar. What do you make of this incident in the first place? Not the first time something like this has happened in well, different corners of the world multiple times now, but there are a lot of gaps that seem to have emerged that ensured that somebody like Jabbar succeeded in what he was seeking to do.
No, absolutely. I think it's a very disturbing incident that has appeared, because particularly in democratic countries, in free countries, it is not all that very difficult to get these, to hire the truck as this individual has done, to be able to get, to ram it into a crowd of revelers whenever there is some celebration taking place. So it's a matter of great worry that these incidents have been taking place, and I think because of certain changes, certain developments that have been taking place around the world, Gautam, that whether what you see in Syria, what you see in Israel and Gaza and other places in West Asia, I think the power, the appeal of some of these terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda, like ISIS, that will continue to grow, that will continue to increase. So I think the law enforcement authorities will have to be much more careful, will have to keep a very close eye, and even individuals themselves will have to be very careful when they are in these places where there is, there are large crowds and big markets and so on and so forth. So I think it's a big challenge for the governments, for establishments, particularly for law enforcement authorities, particularly in the context of the changes that we are seeing in the, the turmoil and turbulence that is taking place in different parts of the world. And as we know, it is an interconnected world. It is not, there can be few lone wolf incidents, but in this case, as it has been mentioned, that he definitely would have had some accomplices also. So it will be important to find out who the accomplices are. Was there a bigger plot? Is there a bigger sort of, larger number of people who are involved? Is it only domestic, locally inspired incident, or does it have any linkages to the to other countries? So I think that definitely investigations have a full a tough task ahead of them.
And does this case become even more worrying, knowing the fact now what we know is that this person, Shamsud-Din Jabbar, was a US Army veteran, a naturally born US citizen, and was deployed in Afghanistan as well, was a successful professional at one point of time, and then a couple of divorces, and then there must be a history of radicalization here. How come it didn't pop up anywhere on anyone's radar?
Yeah, no, that is true. There must have been, there would be a history of radicalization, but, as we have seen in several parts of the world, that this radicalization can take place also over internet, over, it doesn't need to be done through individuals and through the, very much through internet. This can be transmitted, and people can be, as in this case, he said he was inspired by the ISIS. So definitely this can happen, and that poses even greater challenges as far as the law enforcement authorities are concerned, because what we find is that these radicals, extremists and terrorists, they are a step ahead of the law enforcement authorities, while as far as technology is concerned, the law enforcers will also have to ensure that they are keeping pace with whatever is happening as far as those who are trying to reach out to innocent minds. As you said very correctly, he was in Afghanistan from 2007 to 2020, and what must have inspired him, of course, we've seen President-elect Donald Trump saying that he has been warning against immigrants. But of course, as far as this individual is concerned, it is not a case of immigration because he is a naturalized U.S. citizen. So he apparently was also born in the United States. So he in any case would not have been caught by any of the restrictions if they had been placed. But yes, it does lend a much greater support and strength to his own argument when he takes over after about 18 days or so as to what action he's going to take against the immigrants. Because in many of the other places, the news reports that you showed, Gautam, earlier, in most of those cases, the actions had been committed by the immigrants, those who had come into those countries. So of course that strengthens the case that President-elect Donald Trump has said. But yes, people who have been in these positions and who have been serving in the defense services, they know how to use different weaponry. Of course, in the current case in New Orleans, it was not any weapon that was used. He just drove the truck through a group of revelers, leading to this very dangerous and very harmful outcome. But these are the people who can plan well and who can go ahead with whatever is the whatever they plan to do.
Yes, people who are militarily trained have a mission mindset, and this person, not only did he intend to ram people, he was also carrying a gun which he used to shoot at law enforcement personnel, injuring 2 of them as well. But what do you make of what's happened in Las Vegas? It's too much of a coincidence, it seems, and the messaging is quite apparent. It happened outside the Trump Hotel in a Tesla Cybertruck.
Yeah, you are very right. I think all these connections, these are coincidences, are too closely connected to be ignored. Of course, so far what the law enforcement authorities have said, that they do not have any direct, they cannot put any direct connectivity between the New Orleans attack and the Las Vegas attack. But I'm sure that will definitely go, all that investigation will reveal as to what is, whether there is any connection, whether there is any relationship. Because, both of them have happened one after the other, immediately after the other on the New Year's Eve. So, it does appear to be an intent to send out a message to the authorities. It's a Tesla truck, it's a Trump hotel, and it's a cyber truck that has been, and it has also been, this truck has also been rented from the same company, Turo, from which the truck in New Orleans was rented out. So I think these connections are too close to ignore. I'm sure the investigation authorities are going deep into it, and they will find out, they will unravel the details. But of course, they don't want to send out a message. So far, what I have read, they seem to have suggested that he was apparently acting alone. There doesn't seem to have been any connection with any of the others. But of course, final investigations will reveal the whole picture, Gautam, and I think that should become clear to us in the coming
yes, even
days.
how people who hire cars on platforms like Turo are profiled and screened by the company might also come under scrutiny, although that might lead to some inconvenience for tourists and others who use these services. I've used them as well in the past, but it seems that that is the way of the world these days. Thanks a lot for joining us, Ashok Sajanhar.